So Super Robot Wars 30 has been out for around a year now, and I've been putting out content on it since release, from guides to mecha explanations and even breaking the game for the most part. And while my over 900 hours of playing this game may lead you to believe I only have good things to say about the game, I do have my criticisms, which I will address a few in this video as I go over some of the negative Steam reviews for this game, so you don't have to. Now, to preface this video, I'll mostly be going over some funny ones and the truly terrible takes that make me want to gouge my eyes out, but I'll throw in some of the more constructive ones too. Also, there actually isn't a ton of negative reviews, as the game has a majority 88% positive reviews. And without further ado, thank you for watching and I hope you enjoy. Starting off, we got too much dialogue with no substance, really boring. So right off the bat, I don't think this person has consumed Mecha at all. Super Robot Wars as a series has always had very fan service interactions between characters and plots. So as long as you enjoy some of the inclusions in whichever game, you should at least get some fun out of those. If they like more action-oriented games, well, Super Robot Wars never had that, so I don't know what they were expecting. Next up is better to watch anime directly. I'm sorry, but if you're playing Super Robot Wars to get full stories out of series, you're doing it wrong. Game is still not detecting controller after 2021 December update. Seems like the dev don't really care with the issue. Now, Super Robot Wars 30 does have quite a few bugs, and I can't imagine playing it on some weird amalgamation of hardware. But I've never had a problem and have been using a PS4 controller since launch, so it may be something on their end. A lot of recycled assets. Now, I'm gonna stop you there, my guy. Super Robot Wars has been reusing assets since the dawn of time. Hell, they're still using the Meth sprite from Z for God's sake. This issue isn't new, and at this point should be expected. That being said though, it's still a valid criticism. But the problem here is something I'll get into on the next review. At first glance, I thought it was nice, but I couldn't shake a few things that really bummed me out. 1. You can't change the robot of your main character. This game totes a truckload of super robots / mechs, and you can't change the robot for the one guy you're rooting for. So one of the problems with the scope of the Super Robot Wars games, being a big crossover of many different series, is a logistical one. For every pilot, you want to be able to move into another mech. There has to be new voice lines, new character cut-ins, UI and menu system additions, and not to mention plot reasons. For example, you wouldn't be able to put just anyone in Big O because, well, Roger has memories associated with piloting the thing, and whoever sits down to pilot it just might get the ye guilty, and you don't want that. This will largely always be a problem, unless given more time or more staff to work on those kinds of things. 2. No English dub. I know this might not be a deal breaker for some, but the Japanese dub just grates on my ears horribly. Either give me an English dub or just be silent. You can lower the voice acting volume, but you can't mute it. So I do agree that not being able to mute music, sound effects, or voices is an issue. And I would like them to change this in the future. As far as the sub versus dub debate goes, I don't really care. However, the problem here is that some series just never got an English release. J-Decker, for example, as far as I know, does not have one. And hell, Gaogaigar only got half of the original TV series dubbed. I guess they could just assign some random voices, but at that point you run into an issue when they do decide to release it in English, because the voice actors may be different. 3. The Steam screenshots and videos shows all the flashy cutscenes of the combat, but doesn't really show you the real gameplay itself. The fact that the game is actually a strategy game like Fire Emblem is actually kind of hidden until you actually play the game. I don't like this kind of deception. They should clearly show the gameplay in all its states, not just the flashy attack animations. Somewhat fair. Having the visual novel, grid map, and menus in the pictures and videos section would be beneficial. However, I got 2 things. 1. Literally the first 2 lines of the About This Game state that it is a tactical RPG, just like the wikis for both Fire Emblem and Super Robot Wars. 2. I feel bad for anyone who impulsively buys games without doing at least a little bit of research on the game series itself or a developer and publisher. In no way are they deceptive about what the games are or how they play in other promotional material. And in my opinion, a little bit can be forgiven considering the series has existed and remained largely the same for the past 31 years. So that last one was quite a bit, much more fleshed out than most of the ones I'm covering here. So next we have Can't Sex the Robots. Finally, someone who actually thinks about their reviews and tackles the real issues. Can't argue with this one, honestly. One of the biggest flaws in the game. Good review. Probably the most constructive criticism of the game we've seen yet. Thumbs up. Low quality. Yeah, I like this review, you dingus. Next. Now this next guy just dumped a whole novel about this game, and I couldn't be bothered to read it. But I will say this. It's really impressive that someone would play 36 minutes of a game, and then proceed to write up an entire essay about it and then never play it again. Bravo. Thought there would be Tokusatsu Ultramen, but there were none. I mean, Ultraman is in the game, unless they mean the real-life Toku, which is kind of their fault for not checking further, but okay. Thank you for ruining Combattler V with your stupid and lazy CGI. But it isn't CGI? None of the sprite work is CGI'd as far as I could tell. Am I actually wrong about this? I have waited since Super Robot Wars Alpha 2 for a good comeback of Combattler V, but apparently you got more lazier since you made this Super Robot Wars CGI crap fest. What happened to you? You used to make great sprites back in the PS2 era. I guess this person really only cares about Combattler, which is weird. What about Voltes 5? And even weirder, they didn't complain about it having no plot oh, they stopped playing after an hour. The super robots are linked to each character, and your main character's robot is the worst robot by lengths. As you cannot customize your robot in any visible way, or add/change any of its weapons, you are locked to the same 3 different animations for your entire playthrough. This person obviously hasn't played any of the previous Super Robot Wars games, these have always been a thing. As for the Hookbein 30th, between Az and Edge's skilled gift, and the Black Hole Cannon being one of the most damaging attacks in the game, it's far from the worst mech in the game. Arguably more boring than the others, but still good. Also, his entire playthrough claim is crap because he only has 5.9 hours played. He's correct, but still. And there we have it, Super Robot Wars 30 negative reviews summed up. I'm glad that for the most part people are positive about what Super Robot Wars is and always has been, as evident by the 88% positive reviews. This video was pretty fun to make, so let me know what you thought in the comments. And if possible, I would appreciate it if you would consider subscribing and liking if you enjoyed the video. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.